2010 to 2020. I just want you to think about where you were in 2010 and what your journeys look like all throughout the past decade to 2020. I just want you to think about, like, what are some of the things that you've accomplished? What are some of the changes you've made? Where were you then and where are you now? And so, like, for me in 2010, I'm like, wow, I was a brand new mother. I was trying to finish high school. I left an abusive relationship. I put myself through college. I graduated college. I went out to have my first job in marketing. I created multiple businesses. I created a women's networking group. Like, I literally had my rock bottom moments in the last decade, but also like rose up and really built this amazing life that I have today. And the one thing that has been able to help me go from that rock bottom and basically like from nothing to where I am today, experiencing so much like joy and bliss and abundance and like happiness, is that I had a vision. I created a vision for my life. And the thing is, I think we really underestimate our abilities and our power to be able to create the life we desire. But the thing is, we can't live the life that we desire if we don't know what we desire or where that end destination is. So today, I really want to help you get the clarity on your own vision. And I want to break it down for you in a really easy and tangible way, which is why I created a free worksheet that's going to be included with this video, so that after the video, you can go on over and click the link so that you can actually download it today and get started today. So with that being said, let's dive into it, guys. Hey guys, what's going on? It is Whitley Jane here, and I am bringing you a very special requested video that a lot of you guys expressed interest in, and that is helping you get the clarity on creating a 10-year vision. Now, I know some of you who are watching this and may are thinking, whoa, I don't even know what like I want to do in the next like 3 to 5 years, let alone 10 years. But let me assure you that when I say 10 years, I don't want you to feel like overwhelmed by that 10 years, because it shouldn't feel overwhelming. 10 years, I think we overestimate what we can achieve in 1 year and underestimate what we can achieve in 10 years. And so we're entering a new decade. We're in 2020, and 2020 like has been cray. It's been a year, and like the year isn't even finished yet. And so by having a 10-year vision, it sort of allows you to have that roadmap to find your place, to find your way to there. Okay, so the first step is really getting quiet and centered, okay? So what I tend to do, and what I just did a couple of weeks ago when I sat down to make my 10-year vision out for 2020 to 2030, I had to go in my quiet space, which is right in here. It's like my office / Zen room. And so in a quiet space where you can sit for 15 to 20 minutes with no disruptions whatsoever, this is what I want you to do. I just want you to sit, have a journal, have a pen, piece of paper, something where you can jot down some notes. And I want you to start off by doing a breathing exercise. And this kind of breathing exercise helps you to really get grounded and just center you and just kind of like clear the clutter from our minds. So as you do this, you're just going to sit in an upright position. You can have your hands at your sides, or you can have them kind of like laying in your lap. And typically what you're going to do is just start by breathing in. You're going to inhale to the count of 6. Hold for 2. You may not be able to inhale for 6 seconds, but at least like 4 seconds, we'll say. And then you're going to exhale for 6. So what you're going to do is just close your eyes, and you're going to do that for 3 to 4 times, okay? So inhale for 4, hold for 2, and exhale for 6. And you're going to do that for about 3 to 4 times in a row. And as you do that, your body's going to start to calm, it's going to start to come back, and it's going to start to just like be centered. So that way there, your thoughts, your mind is more focused and not like cluttering going off into the distance. So once you do that and you do that breathing exercise and you're in that calm like state, what I want you to do next is just close your eyes, and I want you to begin to visualize your life over the next decade. I want you to just visualize everything that you desire, all the good things. Just visualize the perfect version of yourself over the next 10 years. And this is really important. This part's really important. I want you to do this without any judgments. I want you to do this without judging yourself, and I want you to do this without holding anything back. Nothing is too big at this time, okay? So I want you to just sit there and hold this in. No judgments, nothing's too big, and just go with it. Okay, so some of the questions that I want you to ask yourself as you're visualizing your life over the next 10 years. I want you to visualize, what kind of person are you? I want you to think about that. I want you to think about it. I want you to feel it. What kind of person are you? How are you with your family and your relationships? What's your love life like? What does that look like? What does it feel like? What's your money relationship look like? What does your relationship with money look like? How does it feel? How do you want it to feel? What are some things that you want to accomplish? What kind of impact are you making? What does your career look like? What does your business look like? What does your job look like? What does your personal development look like? Your personal growth? What does it look like with your children, your grandchildren? I want you to visualize what your health looks like. What does your health look like? Your fitness. Okay, so I want you to just really envision all of the things in your life and what it looks like. The best version of it all. Again, no judgments here, and nothing's too big, nothing's out of reach, okay? The perfect world in your mind right now. What does it look like over the next decade? Okay. So you may want to sit with this for about 5 to 10 minutes to get really clear. And you may even want to try this 2 to 3 times more after this one session to get really, really clear. But some of you might just get it just like that, okay? I know that for me, I had to take a couple of different sessions to do this to get really, really clear on what it was that I wanted to accomplish over the next 10 years of my life. All right, so now that you've done this, now that you've sat with yourself in a grounded, centered state, and you get super clear on what that life looks like for you, I want you to go to your worksheet. I want you to go to your worksheet or your journal. You may want to journal some things, but I want you to go to the worksheet, and I want you to start writing down some of those things that came to mind. And I actually organize the worksheet in a way where I separate it in categories for you. So I did some of the heavy lifting. The next step that you're going to do after you've spent some time writing down all of those visions that you've had for yourself, I want you to go into the goal section. And in that goal section of the worksheet, it's going to basically ask you to write 2 to 3 goals that you think you can accomplish over the next year. So basically, you're going to take 2 to 3 things out of that vision that you had for your life in those areas. And you're going to pull out 2 to 3 of those things that you know you can accomplish over the next year. Okay, so for me, I had some really big things on my vision list. So over the next 10 years, like, I want to have an online academy worldwide for all women who can find their purpose and show up in this world with their message and create purpose-driven businesses. I want to impact over 1 million female change makers. And so that was part of my vision. That was like a couple little things inside of that. I also wanted to have an annual weekend retreat and gala where women from all over the world come together for a duration of the weekend and we get together, we celebrate each other, we learn, we grow. It's a community, and like I visualize that. Another one of those things were to heal my relationship with money and to have more enriched relationships with my family, my friends, my coworkers, everybody around me. And so those are just a couple of things that I had on my 10-year vision list. But I also knew that, you know, creating that big online academy wasn't going to happen overnight, and I couldn't accomplish that in just 1 year. And so what I said to myself, I said, okay, I'm going to take a couple things off of my list, my vision here, and really take a few of those that are obtainable over the next year and that I can really hone in on and build that solid foundation that's going to take me to the next step and to the next step. So to give you another example, multimillionaire was in my vision list. I know that I will be a multimillionaire over the next decade, but I know that I won't be a multimillionaire necessarily over the next year. The first thing that I need to do is heal my relationship with money. And so that is me building the foundational blocks that's going to take me to the next level within my 10-year vision. So for this year, I'm focusing on healing my relationship with money. That is one goal that I have. Another goal that I have that I'm going to focus on this year is working on creating more enriched relationships and being more present with my family and my friends. And so that's another goal. A third goal that I'm working on toward this year is basically positioning myself as an expert in my field and as a public figure, someone who has an impact in the community. And so that's one goal that I have for myself that I am working on this year. So just to give you an example as you're working through the worksheet to be able to like break it down for yourself. I don't want you to overthink this, and I don't want you to overcomplicate this. Oftentimes, we really keep ourselves stuck because we overthink things, we overplan things, and we think that we have to have it all figured out. But that's not the case, okay? So go to your worksheet, and as you start to like really write out these things and then work on your goals, that's when things are going to start to get more clear for you. The second piece of this is I left a little part in your worksheet where it says, why does this matter? And this piece is really, really important because you need to know why you're doing this. You need to have a reason that motivates you so strongly that you continue to work through that and you continue to focus only on that. So for me, healing my relationship with money, that's important for me. It's important for me and it matters to me because I desire abundance. I desire to be able to give generously. I desire to have more impact in the world. And in order for me to do that, I need to have a lot of money as a tool to be able to build toward the vision that I have for myself. But I can't be that person handling all of that money if I'm somebody who is reckless with my finances and doesn't really give two hoots about them. And so I know that healing my relationship with money is going to allow me to have more impact in the world later down the road. So that's why that is important to me and why that matters to me. So for you, same thing. As you write down your goal, you're going to write down exactly why does that matter to you. And if that why is not strong enough, I want you to ask yourself why, until you get to the root of why you desire that goal so much for yourself. All right, and last but not least, I know that this is the piece where everything's going to basically come together because we can sit there and we can visualize all we want and we can create goals and have goals all that we want, but nothing can actually happen unless we make it happen, right? So I remember in the past when I would set goals for myself and those goals would either be out of alignment for me or I would not be taking action that was in alignment with me. So what I have learned over the last couple of years of my life is that inspired action is like the most amazing action possible. Now, let me be really, really clear on this because I don't want you guys to get the wrong idea and think you got to sit down on the couch or in your bed or wherever and think like I have to get inspired in order to take action. That's not what I mean whatsoever. You have to just take action, period. So let me give you an idea between, physical action and we'll say proactive action versus inspired action. So what I mean by inspired action Each morning, I have a routine. I have a spiritual routine, practice, self-practice and care that I do every single morning when I get out of bed. And when I get out of bed, the first thing I do is I give gratitude for the blessings in my life, whether they're little, big, or small. I give gratitude. So giving gratitude is part of my spiritual practice, my self-care practice, whatever you want to call it. And then the next thing that I like to do is actually just like meditate. I sit and I meditate. And during my meditation process, where I'm working on my breath work and I'm breathing and I'm kind of just like centering myself, this is typically the time where I get inspired action. It's that feeling that you get inside of yourself, or that idea that pops inside your head that feels like, that feels good, that feels right. It's like a knowing that I gotta do this. That, my friends, is inspired action, okay? So how do you take inspired action? When you get that feeling, when you get that idea, when you get that thought that just feels like, it clicks, it feels good, you just know it, you feel energized by it, you gotta take action. That's your inner self's way of saying, you need to take action on this. This is going to take you closer to that goal. Let me back up for a second, because I said I sit there in meditation. I also sit there and visualize the things that I'm working toward. I visualize it in such a way where I see myself doing it, I see myself already having it, and I give thanks for it. That is what I'm talking about in terms of like when I meditate and visualize the life that I'm going after, my vision, my goals. That's when the inspired action, the inspired thought kind of takes place afterwards. So when you get those inspired feelings of thought, ideas, inspired action, take it, okay? Now, oftentimes we don't take any action when we feel, because we get almost paralyzed by the negative thoughts, the limiting beliefs, those things that, kind of come creeping in and saying, who do you think you are? You can't do that. That's a terrible idea. You're going to get rejected. People are going to judge you. You're going to fail. Just don't do it. I'm telling you, do it. Because friends, that is your ego. It's your ego keeping you safe from doing the things that are supposed to move you forward to the life you desire. Your ego is only meant to keep you safe. That is why we have fear. Fear keeps us safe from harm. But the thing is, our ego doesn't really understand, the reality of what's safe and what's not safe. It does to an extent, but I mean, when it comes to being afraid to put yourself out there because of fear of rejection, your ego comes in to keep you safe because it's protecting you from the feelings that you may experience if you're rejected or put in that situation. So a tip, please do not let these limiting beliefs or these doubting thoughts or uncertainties paralyze you from taking that inspired action. Okay, so the second piece is proactive action. Proactive action is basically like knowing, okay, if I'm going to work toward losing weight this year, say that I'm going to lose 15 pounds this year, proactive action would be you going out and going for a walk. Proactive action is you choosing to eat a plate of vegetables and fruit instead of McDonald's. So that's what I mean by proactive action. You can't just sit there and wait for your inner self to say like, okay, you got to, here's your inspired action for today. Like, no, you can't. Like, there's some things you just have to be able to like be proactive, because those are the steps that you have to take. So there, now you know the difference between proactive and inspired action to help you on your way. So as you start to work through that worksheet today and you have listed everything below, I want you to send me a DM, send me a message on Facebook, send me an email, whitleyjane@gmail.com. I want to know how you're making out, and I want to celebrate you, because it takes a lot to be able to just like sit down and to do this work, but you deserve it and you're worth it. And I believe in you. And I know that once you have that clarity, you can start to take that action that's in alignment with that life that you desire. Anything is possible. Do not ever underestimate the power that you hold within yourself. You are authentic power. And when you begin to show up in your authentic power, you begin to take your power back, and you begin to be able to like live in harmony with this world around us. And so I give you lots and lots of love and good positive vibes as you work through this worksheet. If you have any questions whatsoever, guys, please feel free to send me a message. Pop your questions below in the comments and I'd be happy to help in any way that I can. I hope you guys enjoyed this video this week and stay tuned for the next one.